Hey, good afternoon, everybody. Meteorologist Greg Majeski back with you here on the Weather Nerds YouTube channel with your Hurricane Central live update here on Hurricane Erin. Here on the 5 o'clock hour, got all the latest information from the Hurricane Center to go over for you. You know, it never fails right before I'm getting ready to go live on this. I get some stuff that kind of hit me, but I took care of it real quick. All taken care of. And wow, all I gotta say is you look at that picture right there. That's a textbook example of a perfect looking hurricane. Very symmetrical, nice little eye on that thing. Very proud. I was surprised that the winds didn't get upgraded to 115 and the 5 o'clock advisory. They're still holding me at 110, but the pressure's down like 943 was the last update here. In fact, I'll go through all the specs with you here real quick. So as we got you on here, we'll go through all of this. And we'll get you through the latest on this right there. So, again, we're looking at a very healthy looking storm. I mean, it really is. I mean, really can't say anything negative about it. The pressure is holding at, let's see here. Pressure's at 943. 944 is borderline for Cat 4. So what it tells me is that the upper level winds are pretty high. They haven't worked their way down to the surface just yet as the winds are kind of absorbing it. Imagine like a skater, pulling the arms in close and getting that spin going on. So I still think we're going to get Cat 3 status. Don't think we'll get Cat 4. I think I was getting my cats mixed up this morning, but, brain wasn't quite woke up just yet. But again, we're looking at this thing strengthening, and it's a very large hurricane. It is covering some very big real estate. So, I mean, we're talking about a very large storm taking up a lot of space here. You got winds going out. Let's see here, 265 miles from the center. Tropical storm force winds, hurricane force winds are 105 miles from the center. So this is a very large hurricane, very big as far as its dynamics. And they've already been receiving some of the wind gusts of some of the buoys just offshore of the Cape Hatteras area up to 67 miles per hour. So it's doing some business. It's going to get rough tonight, folks, along the East Coast there, especially the Outer Banks. They're going to get scraped. They're going to get some 60-mile-per-hour winds and everything. Now, before we get into this full report, we kind of break everything down. If you're coming in after the live broadcast, if you'd like to have a no-nonsense approach to weather, I mean, what a concept, where I kind of give it to you straight and steady and, without kind of hyping and scaring the bejesus out of everything for every single weather event, please consider hitting the subscribe button and joining our Weather Nerds family here. So, again, that's what we're going to go ahead and break this down as you're looking at that satellite imagery. Just absolutely beautiful, beautiful symmetry on that storm. Now, we are seeing some of the outer bands starting to come in here a little bit on the radar. I'll show you here on radar Omega here as you get some of these outer squalls here starting to show up here just offshore. So here are the outer banks right here. Getting some few thunderstorms here over toward New Bern and Jacksonville and Wilmington here, kind of scraping on in there. But getting some very rough conditions out there right now. And we got to see if this live video. Look at the surf here coming in here between the homes that are out there. So we're talking about some major flooding problems. There's going to be a lot of beach erosion coming in there. And, you see the swells coming up here. We're talking about some 20-foot plus waves coming into that area there. So we're talking about some serious problems here as this thing goes for tonight, and especially with high tide coming in. But look at that. Look at the wave action. Just really tremendous there in the Outer Banks. So we're going to continue to monitor this right here for tonight. Here is the official track. I'll show you the track on this thing. This thing's going to start to pick up some speed here in the days ahead, so we got some good news there. It's going to start picking up, heading on out there. And you see the tropical storm warnings that go up there from along the Carolina coast and going up into Virginia and up near the Del Mar area. So they're going to get some gusty winds in there. Tropical storm watch winds up for Bermuda as well. I got the crawl down below kind of showing you all the tropical storm watches warnings. But this thing's going to head off very quickly. It'll get on out of here, and then we got to watch the other two systems back behind us to see what's going to happen with that system. So again, this is one of three. We got three different things going on. So here's the other two. You got 60% on this one back behind this one. I'm not worried about this one right here. I'm probably a little more concerned about this one, but the ensembles aren't really picking up very well on that other system just yet. So we'll see what happens once we actually get something to form. I always tell folks when we're talking about tropical systems, we really got to wait till we get a low-level circulation for the models to kind of lock on before we kind of see what's going to go on with this. So let's get into the model data on this. Let's go ahead and show you what's going on with the latest model data here. We're going to pull up the high-resolution model data here first. So let me pull that one up here first. We'll look at the high resolution model data here. It's pretty close to what we're seeing out there, although the pressure, like it says, 943, and this is showing 954. So the initialization is off just a little bit. I'm more worried about the track on this. As you can see, this thing kind of moving up toward the north. We're going to see it kind of scrape the Outer Banks there. So we're going to get a little bit of the Outer Banks in here. Going to get clipped with this. Again, that onshore flow in here is just tremendous amount of wave action, and it's going to cause some massive coastal erosion. Dunes are going to get worn down. Hopefully, I'm crossing my fingers we don't get a lot of unnecessary people drowning in the waters. They're playing in the waters along the East Coast here. It's going to take it a couple days for this to settle down. I'm not thinking this thing settles down until we probably get into this weekend. So if anybody going to the East Coast, you probably be looking at some improvements there going on. But it looks like by tomorrow, this thing really starts to pull away by tomorrow afternoon. So tonight's going to be the rough part of it, and this kind of pulls on out of the way there. So here is here's the European model on this one. We can back this up here again. We kind of show the European here. Let me pitch over to the 12Z here. Okay, so there we go. So the European takes this thing down to 939. So the European looks like it's got a pretty good clip on this, because here at 2 o'clock it has 943. So that's exactly what it is right now. So the European's taking this storm once we get at night, and it strengthens it, drops it down to 937. That's why I've been saying here from the get-go, I thought there was an outside chance this thing might try to get to a Cat 4 status. It's got a short window to do it in, but it might do it as we go in toward tonight. So we're going to see what happens with this as this thing goes on by here a little bit. So it'll go on by here, clipping the Outer Banks, and then going on out to sea. All right, so I think there's a small window here we may get, I think Cat 3 for sure. We know we're going to get that, 120, 125. But will it get to 130? That's the Cat 4 status. So this is going to move on out to sea, and then we'll see things begin to improve with that system. Okay, now the wave action is just tremendous in here. All that purple in there, by the way, this is on the European, is 50-foot waves here. So the Outer Banks, where we just saw that live camera shot, they're looking at 20-foot waves all up along that coastal area as this kind of goes on by here. Now notice this is right here, this time right here is at 11 o'clock tomorrow. So this is going in from 5 p.m. and then you kind of see it got to really go downhill going into tomorrow morning. So tonight is really when it's going to be bad, especially when the high tide comes on in, and then this thing moves on out. But notice by the time we get into this weekend, like here, I'll take it up to Saturday, conditions get much, much better along the coast. So things will be looking a lot better for the weekend. For anybody planning heading to the Carolinas or the Georgia coast or Florida, it should get a lot better. But for tonight, it's going to be really brutal for those guys down there along the beaches. It's going to be really bad. Now, as far as the winds, I took this snapshot here. Let me pull this up to the 12Z here. That's the 12Z right there, 8 o'clock tomorrow morning. Let me back this up a little bit more here. It looks like 2 o'clock in the morning. The Outer Banks out here, you're getting 60-mile-per-hour winds out here. So there's 47, 40, 36. So we got some pretty good action here with the winds. So it looks like the winds overnight, really to the morning hours, early morning, that's what's going to be the worst. And then we'll see things begin to improve as we go in toward tomorrow as that wind field begins to pull away. But again, this is a very massive wind field. Tropical storm force winds going up some 265 miles plus from the center of circulation. So again, a massive wind field. And because it's covering such a big, vast ocean, that's why there's so much wave action. That's why we got so much, storm surge that's going to be going with this thing, because it's not an overly powerful storm as far as wind speed's concerned, but it's just so big. It's a very above average storm, to say the least, as far as the overall size. So it's like 2.5 times larger in size than it was when it was a Cat 5 with 160 mile per hour winds. Give you an idea, when it was a Category 5, the hurricane force winds only went 25 miles from the center. Now it's 105 miles from the center. So it's 4 times out from what it was before as far as the hurricane force winds are concerned. So that's what those poor folks across the Outer Banks are going to do. At least we're not dealing with a direct landfalling hurricane, but it's going to do some damage. We're going to have some lost houses, I'm sure. Some dunes are going to be down. Some roads are going to be washed out on the Outer Banks. They know the drill. They're kind of used to this kind of thing, but they're going to see that again here going in forward tonight. So that's what we're looking at right then and there right now. And we'll take a live look here using the different cameras here up and down the coast. Again, we're kind of watching Wilmington Beach, Jacksonville, Florida, seeing it. But those waves down there in Wilmington Beach are really, you look at the people walking on the sides, I think you get an idea of just how big those wave heights are. Let me see if I can see the, try this camera here. Yeah, this is a little bit better. Here's a little close-up shot of the Wilmington Beach shot there. So you can kind of see there, again, the the wave heights are very tremendous as they're coming up there, and it's getting into some of the low-lying areas there. As you saw, they're kind of washing the house of the storm chaser that was out there on the Outer Banks. I only saw one person out there on the Radar Omega site doing the chasing out there. But again, you're going to see some of that action going on here for tonight. So conditions tonight, hopefully everybody's gotten off the island. I know they did mandatory evacuations out there. They got that all done. And the conditions tonight are where they're going to be really getting bad. After midnight, looks like things are getting really the worst. It's when the storm is at its closest proximity. We're going to get a tremendous amount of storm surge. We've got storm surge warnings up there. Tropical storm force winds up to about 60-mile-per-hour gusts, I think, are very reasonable out there on the Outer Banks. And then we'll see this thing begin to improve. And then we'll see what goes on back behind this thing, because we do have a couple of things we need to keep a watch on. Obviously, these two other systems that are out here. The one behind here is going out to sea. This one here, the models aren't getting a good handle on. I'll show you that. Let me show you the ensemble real quick on that, just to get an idea of what's going on with that next system there. So let me pull that one up here real quick. And here it goes. Here's the ensemble loop here. Again, you can see where Erin's going. It's going around the periphery of that high out there as that's going on by. Let me get this out of studio mode real quick. Sorry about that. Get this out of studio mode. There we go. Again, you kind of see here, and let me pull up my pen. My pen is on the right place. All right, there we go. All right, here we go. And get this over here real quick. This is me doing it on the fly. Let's pull that back over to 3. There we go. And there we go. All right, so here goes Erin going this way, going straight on out. And then that other disturbance, you see where it's going right behind it. So I'm not worried about either one of those two systems. This one here is tracking way far south, and it's not showing up down here. I don't think the ensemble's got a good lock on that one just yet. So let's wait and see what goes on with that one, because that one is actually looking a little more impressive than the other one was. And we've got a little ways to watch that one. So, but as far as this upcoming weekend, and even going in toward right now, I mean, this is a 10-day loop going out. If you're worried about Labor Day weekend, we're kind of getting on the fringe of the outlooks here unless something develops. So even Labor Day weekend is not looking all that bad right now. It's still 10 days out, though. Remember, Labor Day's early this week, comes on the 1st. So I think we're looking okay there. Then we got this big dump of once this system pulls out, we got a big dump of cool air coming across the eastern portion of the United States, and that means a big trough in the east. So that means anything that even comes out in the Atlantic, it's also going to get deflected, taken out. The only way we can get anything tropical to be any kind of an influence because of what's going to happen with Erin is it's going to have to undercut, come through the Caribbean or come through the Gulf of Mexico, or I'm sorry, Gulf of America, to be an issue there. So that's what's going on with that. So let's get back over here to the main channel here once again. Again, I appreciate everybody checking us out here on the Weather Nerds YouTube channel as we're keeping a watchful eye here on our hurricane, our Category 2 hurricane, which should be a Category 3. Like I said, I was surprised I didn't get the upgrade because the pressure is, give you an idea, Category 4 hurricane is between 921 and 944 millibars, and this thing's 943. So, I mean, it's very healthy looking. I was very surprised the winds didn't come up at least 5 miles per hour to make it a Category 3. And again, all indications are the Europeans got a pretty good lock on it as far as its strength. And I think that between now and the 11 o'clock advisory, I think there's a window in there where we may strengthen up to definitely a Cat 3, 120, 125. I don't know if we'll get to 130. That'll be kind of long. And thank you for the new subscriber, by the way, who just kind of chimed in there and gave us a new subscriber. We've been kind of stuck at that number for a while. That's our all-time high number right there, by the way. So anyway, I do appreciate you guys checking out the channel here again as we're kind of watching this. I'm thinking about maybe later tonight, I got to talk with the wife, make sure she's okay with it. I'm sure she will be. I might come back on here 8 o'clock. Maybe do a couple hours of coverage on here just to kind of track and see what goes on, see what the 8 o'clock advisory's got to say, and then see what the conditions are doing out there. So we may do a couple hours of some wall-to-wall coverage here for tonight to kind of watch and see what goes on with this system here for tonight. I wish I had gotten my buddy, we'll just call him my consultant meteorologist buddy on board to do some testing here of the two-person chat here, but I didn't think to do that in advance. I probably should have done that, but anyway, when you're trying to do like 10 things at once, you can only do so much, right? Anyway, who we got on the channel out there? We got Roshan out there. We got Rita. We got Kirsty Robinson. Good to see you there. We got Evil Queen. Yeah, I know. She follows us on the regular Facebook channel as well. Edith out there. Good to see you. Brian Davis, AJ Dukes. Good to see you guys out there. I think at 8 o'clock too, what I might try to do is I might simulcast this broadcast over on my North Georgia Majestic Weather page on Facebook as well. I need to get in the habit of doing that since that other page is starting to get going again. I want to make sure I keep both my audiences entertained, informed, and ready to react should anything happen. But I tell you one thing, I'm definitely looking forward to the cool down next week. I'm so looking forward to some fall-like weather because it's my favorite time of year. And hopefully we'll get this thing out of here without causing any loss of life along the East Coast. Anyway, anybody got any questions out there on the YouTube channel before we shut down? I'm going to hold on here for a minute. I'm going to hold up and wait. Again, I don't have those who don't know, I don't have my chatting engine anymore. I'm so friggin' angry at that because I love that thing, love that program to death. And I got to find a replacement. And the one I thought I could solve my problem, I didn't like. So I got to find me a replacement on that. So anyway, yeah, Evil Queen, you said, Mike, me too. Yeah, you're looking for that. I got this on my side monitor over here I use for when I'm at the weather wall, which, by the way, I got to fix. My weather wall's not working anymore. I still got to repaint it anyway, but had some issues with my weather wall not working, and I'm not exactly sure why. It's got to be something with the software because it's having some issues. But we'll fix it. We'll get it going here again. Yeah. Oh, Brian, there you go. Yeah, you were surprised you didn't get the update too. I was surprised I didn't get up there as well. I really was. So again, thank you for being a subscriber, by the way. There you go. Got a couple more subscribers on there. That's I always like to get the subscribers. That's a lot of fun to do that. And I'm gonna tell you guys, if I get what I'm trying to do on my local channel, especially if I get that thing going and I get the weather software program that I want to use, we're going to take this stuff to a whole new level, man, guys. We're talking broadcast quality stuff here as far as the look, because everything I do here I make on my own. I use external sources. I use some different things. I try to make it look as clean, as professional as possible. But if I'm able to pull off the stuff I'm trying to do on the local level, which gives me an access to what's called it's a weather box called Baron Links. If I can get that thing on board here, man, we're going to be taking this stuff to a whole new level. I'll tell you that right now. It'll be pretty good. Rita, what you got? Do you think that the cool air will reach Columbus? To some degree. I don't think it'll be overly dramatic for you guys down there. I mean, the low humidity will be the big thing. I think the real cool stuff's going to be up in North Georgia. Upper 70s, upper 50s. You guys will probably get, mid 80s, maybe mid 60s. That'll feel pretty decent. But you get a little cool down there, Rita. You got that. It's coming. What's interesting when we get situations like this, the models tend to underestimate a little bit on that. So we'll see on that. Oh, by the way, I would appreciate everybody who's been sending out the big shout outs. I did, for those who don't know, I'm actually freelancing for Fox 5 in Atlanta now. And I've had a lot of days over I did the last 2 weekends. I did some other days. I did like 8 or 9 shows. I'm finally getting my wheels back underneath me. I never thought I'd be doing Atlanta weather again. But one thing I made very clear to the station there, if I was going to do this, was I wasn't going to give up my Weather Nerds channel, and I wasn't going to give up my North Georgia Majestic Weather channel, because that is my business. That's my LLC, and I wasn't going to give up either one of those. So they said, sure, we don't have a problem with that. Go ahead. And I was like, great, that's awesome. It's great. I'm sitting there trying to build this product, and I've pretty much. I'm not trying to go up against the 2 big channels anymore on YouTube. I'm just trying to make my way in this and trying to find my success at the local level, and maybe drive a little more success here on the YouTube channel as well. So, okay, just making sure I don't miss any more comments out there. Anybody else got any more questions out there for me? Anything you'd like to see? Again, there's that track again right there. I got. You know what? I'm gonna go ahead and stay on here for about 9 more minutes. I'm gonna go ahead and stay on here for a few more minutes. I'm gonna wait till about 5:30. I gotta cook some dinner. I got some chicken ready to get cooked for tonight, but I'm gonna stay on here for a few more minutes. So we'll see how things are going here. Again, if you're kind of new to the channel, please go ahead and hit that subscribe button and hit that like. And there's a comments section over there. I am watching the comment chat. I'm watching the feed right now. When you're a small channel, you get to do that kind of stuff, so it's kind of fun there. Another thing I wanted to point out. Another reason why I think this thing's going to strengthen a little bit. Let me show you this real quick. Is the fact that we've got it's getting ready to pull into the area near the Gulf Stream. So you got some very warm waters out there for this thing to potentially strengthen on. So this is the seawater temperatures here. It's interactive here, and you can kind of get an idea of what the sea surface temperatures are doing out in this area. So that's 84 degrees on that one right there. Kind of looking around here, there's an 85-degree temperature right there. So we got temperatures out here in the mid 80s. Let's see, there's an 84 right there. So getting close to the coast here, there's 84 right there. So it looks like generally seeing temperatures out here in the mid 80s. So that's not too bad. That's pretty good. Anything above 80 degrees obviously is what you do. But when you get up to like 84, 85, then you're really kind of getting into the octane level that really helps fuel the storms and kind of get them going. Now I will say this, compared to the previous 2 years, the amount of latent heat out in the Atlantic is not as bad as the last 2 years. This is where we currently are sitting. Like this is last year and this is 2023. So the trend has been downward. Now it's above the average. That black line is the average. So we're above the average, but we're definitely not as warm heat out in the Atlantic as in previous years. So that does make a little bit of an impact there. So one thing I do need to add back on here is there's one slide I need to add back in here. But again, we're looking at the outer bands here. These bands are going to be coming in. And as these squalls come in, they're going to be responsible for the really gusty winds. You get those gusty winds up to 50, 60 miles per hour. You're going to get the storms, the surges kind of coming in with that. And I want to go back to this camera here. I want to see if these guys see anything different if they move their camera at all. Oh, they are moving around a little bit. There you go. So yeah, look at some of the water there kind of coming in there into those. Most of the houses here on the Outer Banks of North Carolina are up on stilts. So you're seeing the folks out there. So they're getting some of the flooding going on there, getting into some of those homes and stuff that are not on stilts. The older homes on there, they're going to get some flood damage. There's no way around that a little bit. But those that are up on stilts, they should do okay if they're upstairs. So it's good that we got a little bit of video here coming up from the coastal areas. Hey, AJ Dukes, thanks. I got to go blow. Okay, it's okay, AJ. Thank you very much, brother. Appreciate it. Hey, Joni, good to see you. Good to see you back here on the channel. Good to see you guys, absolutely. And yeah, so we'll keep checking back on there. I like going back here to the quad chart. One thing is much better. The Turks and Caicos look a whole lot better than they did yesterday, 24 hours ago, if you remember. The Caicos were pretty rough out there. Let me double check something. I don't think my camera one is refreshing, so I got to refresh these. I learned a long time ago when it comes to YouTube video sources, if you don't refresh, it's just going to buffer for where it was last time. So you got to hit the refresh button on those. So I keep those refreshing it all the time. So, but boy, those conditions in Wilmington, they're really going downhill. They're going to continue to go downhill here for tonight as that. See, I mean, give you an idea this morning, guys, I can see a whole lot more beach than I'm seeing out there right now. It's definitely come up quite a bit. Very angry surf, rip tides, rip currents all over the place, causing some problems for those folks there for tonight. Now, you hear my alert tones going off a little bit. I don't know if y'all hearing that. I think I got it muted. I think it's just hearing. Yeah, I got it muted. It's just my my TV. I got the TV out volume. Look at the guy walking on by there. Okay, I think if you watch the wave heights as that guy's walking on by on the beach there, you get an idea of how high those waves are. They're very high. They're above 6 feet there right now, 6 to 8 feet I'd say right now. So they're pretty good. They're definitely chumming away at the coastal zones right now, to say the least. They're getting some real headaches with that. But I tell you, if I was going to do a publication, and I was going to do a book on a hurricane, what a hurricane should look like, this would be the snapshot I want, because this thing looks. I mean. It's deadly, obviously, for its RV, but it's so pretty. This is a textbook looking storm. We've got very symmetrical, means we've got all four quads here. We've got good airflow. We got air. You've got air evacuating out the center. Now the eye is not completely cleared out, but you can clearly see it right there. You got the center of circulation. The CDO is fairly small, but not too bad. But to me, the bigger storms like this one look prettier than the small ones. I just my personal opinion. They're from a satellite perspective, they look so. And this thing is so big as far as if I was going to put that in the southeast, it would cover like several states over. So it's much larger. I would say compared to the two last year, I actually think this is bigger than the two that we had Helene last year. And we had Milton. I think as far as the overall size, I think this one's a little bit bigger than those two as far as the size. Not the strength. We're talking about the overall size of the storm. So definitely a stronger looking hurricane there, comparatively speaking. But the other good news for this storm, keep in mind, if this was, it's always on the right side of the storm where the strongest winds are, and those are going to stay offshore. So you're going to worry about that. And also, there's not going to be a tornado risk on this side. Okay, so there's no tornado risk with this thing. It's just strictly going to be gusty winds and that persistent onshore flow here coming on here coming out of the east until that center kicks off out of the way. All right, so there's no tornado risk with this storm. There's going to be storm surge with it, and there's going to be some gusty winds, maybe getting up to 60 miles per hour. So maybe, but it's going to be wind. It's going to be water damage and storm surge that's going to cause the most headaches with this storm. Not tornadoes. Not going to be a tremendous amount of wind damage per se. 60-mile-per-hour winds. They've got to deal with out there. It's going to be the water damage, because the storm has slowed down. It slowed down yesterday, and that persistent wind just kind of lapping over and over, kind of driving the water up on the coast. That's what's going to keep the problems there along the coastal areas, and that'll keep that going. Hey, again, if you're new here to the channel, and I appreciate you guys checking them out. Before I sign off here, I'm going to come back. I think I'm going to come back at 8 o'clock for the 8 o'clock update. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button if you can. Hit that notification bell so you're alerted when I do these live updates. We're going to do one at 8 o'clock, and I think what I'm going to plan on doing tonight is I'm going to do 8 o'clock and probably stay up until the 11 o'clock update. So from 8 to 11, I think we'll do a small little period of some wall-to-wall coverage there a little bit, and see if we can help push the subscribe button up here, the subscribe count up here a little bit. See if we give it a little push, and if you guys want to check in at that time. All right, we're coming up on 5:30. I'm going to go ahead and go ahead and power this down for right now. Go ahead and check back with me at 8 o'clock, and we'll give you an update on the 8 o'clock advisory. And I think we'll do a 3-hour block tonight. I think I'm leaning that way. I think I'm going to go and do that, unless I get too tired and say nope. We'll just shut it down. All right, you guys take it easy. We'll see you guys at 8 o'clock. Check back with us then. Okay, you guys take it easy.